So guys, is my screen visible and am I audible? Please let me know in the chat box. Loud and clear? Okay, great. Thank you so much. So without much delay, so welcome friends to this session on best investment options for our parents almost on the verge of retirement or retired already, pensioners or senior citizens. So it is the coveted day for me, I would say. My late father's 78th birthday. So I always spread education on this day more so. Before I begin my presentations, always a big thanks is due to Almighty, due to the Almighty who's given me much more than what I deserve. And the big thanks is deservingly due for my father as well, who was instrumental in teaching me the clinical part of finance. So whatever three topics I am taking up today are in the form of webinars are his three favorite topics. The best options for senior citizens, the financial literacy for women in the afternoon, and the tax planning, the most favorite of his topic at 8 p.m. for the free group webinar. So this is my brief CV. You all are aware of it by now, most of you. So yes, I had my MBA in finance management apart from my dentistry, but what dad taught me was priceless. I can never pay him back for that. So this is our session. It is supposed to be a 60 to 70-minute session. So surely we'll try to wind up by 8:10 or so, and then I'll be taking up the queries to finish up finally maximum by 8:30. So this is a MPG webinar, but it has been extended as a early morning offer to the free group as well. So Dr. Dipali, I would take up all the queries in the end. Please, you can lower your hand. I will take up all the queries in the end. So this is my tribute to my father. It's his 78th birthday today. I have rechristened it as the mini day of education in 2019. He passed away on 30th June 2019. So ever since that, 230 Junes and 3rd of 12th of August this time. So 5 of the days I have already dedicated fully to education. So those of you who were actually a part of the webinars on 30th June might be knowing it. There were 2 costing webinars on 30th June. So let's begin without much ado. So what exactly I want to convey, I'll try to be very short and sweet in many aspects, but just try to understand with the open mind. You can say open eyes and open ears. So I have muted all of you. You won't be able to unmute yourselves in the presentation to avoid any kind of distraction or background noise, since I have requested a few of you to even ask your parents to join the webinars. And I fully agree that many a times the parents are not very well versed with Zoom and other settings, and they might find it difficult to mute themselves. So this is the reason I have actually disabled the mute button from the unmute button from the backside. So in earlier times, you can say senior citizens were dependent on children for their financial needs. But the paradigm shift is happening now because rising income, better investment opportunities, and financial awareness. Usually, most of the senior citizens are financially independent, irrespective of whether they are getting pension or not. And many of them can actually fund their lifestyle, because even those who are say living in the same city, they are sometimes staying in different houses. The senior citizens live in different house, the kids live in different house, because of the joint family culture vanishing from our society. A kind of a bad thing, because there were a lot of host of benefits which were accorded by the parents living with us or the uncles living with us. But then life is moving on at such a pace that many a times there are ego clashes, there are other things happening. So that is the reason this is vanishing. I still live in a joint family with my parents, of course. So, but then it is a personal choice. The inflation is rising, and so is the average lifespan. The average lifespan of an Indian used to be close to 58 years, then went up to 62, 68. Currently, it is close to 78 to 79. So if somebody retires at the age of 55 or 60, he still has close to 20 years to survive. So if he has worked for 30 years, he needs to actually pay for those 20 years as well. And trust me, those 20 years are not going to be very, very, you can say, cheap in terms of cost of living, because of the rising cost of medical expenditure and the ever rising inflation. Whatever the government numbers put it at, the average cost of living increases by 10% every year. So obviously, senior citizens have to look for avenues of income. So both sets of parents, father or mother, earning or non-earning, working or retired, or almost on the verge of being retired, they remain the two idol figures in any son or daughter's lives. Whether you want to believe it or not, for me they are. For many of you, they would be. But for those of you, if they are not, they should be. They are the central figure, because even if we are unmarried, they are the central figure around us. Yes, after our marriages, our focus does shift to our nuclear family, but they still should and would remain to be a they would and should remain to be a central figure or an important figure in the overall scheme of things for us. But because they do everything in their life to make their children happy. So when it is their sunset age, isn't it our duty to reciprocate it back? So if we are in 20s, our fathers or mothers, late 20s, I mean, must be close to their retirement. If we are already 30 plus, considering the average age of an Indian, then our parents might be already retired unless they're in business. If they're a working class, salaried class, which most of our parents were or are, so they would have retired by now. I opened up my clinic on 1st Jan 2000. My dad took a VRS on 31st March 2001. He was 58 then. At that point of time, State Bank had launched a VRS, and the plan was his birthday falls today, 12th of August. So he said at that point of time, the SBI had actually started floating that idea that maybe the retirement age would be rolled back to 58. So he said, I would anyways turn 58 in August. So if I am getting a pension from day one and the remaining almost 2.5 years salary till 60 right now, what purpose do I have to work? That was the first scheme that was launched by SBI back then. The first VRS that came in Jan 2001. So for the remainder of the period till 60, you got the salary lump sum, your pension benefits, your pension also started from day one, your PF, your gratuity, your everything. But yes, that came with a rider. A couple of friends of dad who retired after a couple of years in 2003 in the second batch of VRS, their pension and my dad's pension varied by more than 10,000 in that time. And that was a huge thing for the Bankers Association. They filed up a case. A few cases were decided last year when my father was not there. But still, the pension continues to be a lot different from that batch. So it comes with a set of advantages and losses both. And retirement is an very important stage in anyone's life. I have taken innumerous webinars on how to plan for your retired life. Just envisage the same in your parents' case, in your father's case, mother's case, whosoever is the earning member, if both are earning. You need to make sure that everybody expects a social security, financial security, emotional security. Not everything is provided by money. They might get a lump sum money on their retirement, but the other factors are to be provided by you, being the son and the daughter. So if you are not providing that, you need to really introspect yourself. Forget that point. I'm not discussing that, just to give you a brief introduction on that. So we'll be discussing the financial security part. Yes, of course, our fathers, our parents might be more qualified financially than us, and they might know how to adapt or invest. But what is lacking, or what may be lacking, is the change in their mindset. In my previous financial investment journey webinars that I have taken up already on YouTube, so I have emphasized on the importance of a few things that we can learn from our parents. They are our first teachers. Mothers without any formal education are excellent budget managers. Fathers can tell a lot about investment and the overall industry scenario, especially investment part, considering their experience. So they are our first teachers. But then at the end of that presentation, I mentioned two things. That is their mindset, because they have seen the upside of it. The number one thing is their mindset is conservative in terms of investment. Even till today, so many of colleagues I talk to, so many colleagues I do a financial portfolio analysis, they say, sir, आपकी बात हमें समझ आ गई है. I am not able to put that across to my parents. वो आज भी कहते हैं, नहीं बेटा, FD is good. FD safe है. FD कहीं नहीं डूबेगी. At 5.4, 5.5 of an FD, the practical returns, if you need the money urgently, are less than 2.5%. There is a video on YouTube on that as well, where I've given the calculation. So yes, that mindset needs to be changed. The second mindset they have been traditionally exposed to is that they have always mixed insurance and investment. And the same transfers on to us. That gives birth to, or rather had given birth to, so many endowment plans, money back plans, as we easily call them. You insure for an amount, you are insured for 5 lakh, 10 lakh, you pay a bomb of a premium. And yes, you get the money back if you survive. The mindset here should be the term insurance for us, obviously not for them. In their peak years, 60 years, if they're continuing with that policy initially, then that is fine. But if they have not started with any term insurance policy till 60, I don't think that is needed. It is a must for us. It is not a must for them at the age of 60. So those two things, conservative mindset of investment, because they have seen the FDs. My dad had an FD of 16%, 16.5% at one time. In those days, the senior citizen used to get 1% more. Plus, being a staff member of State Bank, he used to get 1% more on that. Even I have seen a FD of 13.5 to 14%. So 5.5, 5.4, 5.2 seems not even a peanut to me. So what are the options? To guide your parents on these two aspects vehemently, you need to be financially literate yourself. That is where you can actually help them. What do the parents want? They value two things most: our time and their money in their sunset years. So the best way to show them your affection is by gifting them or deploying strategies that can reduce their tax liability, give them good returns, and still offer security of their capital. They are worried, मेरा सारा पैसा बेटा म्यूचुअल फंड में, मार्केट में मत लगा देना. For them, mutual fund is equivalent to market only, stock market only. That is the mindset you need to cure upon them. But you can only cure this mindset, or not exactly cure, but just alter their mindset, I mean to say, not in a wrong sense. Please don't misunderstand me. So just to alter their mindset, because mutual fund and stock market are like chalk and cheese. You can't actually integrate. Yes, the investment is based upon that. It will have its periods of crests and troughs, highs and lows. But it does not happen like आज आपका म्यूचुअल फंड का प्राइस 80 रुपीज NAV पे है, नेट एसेट वैल्यू, और आज स्टॉक मार्केट गिरी आपका 80 से 20 पे आ जाएगा, लाइक ए स्टॉक, लाइक ए शेयर. नो, मार्केट आपकी 2000 पॉइंट भी गिर जाएगी तो भी आपका 80 का मैक्सिमम 75 आ जाएगा, 74 आ जाएगा. दैट इज द वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो. We had such one black swan scenario, black swan event, as we call it, in the COVID-1 lockdown, March and April 2020. But then that is one event once in a 15-20 year. We call it a black swan event. That is not going to happen always. Yes, even then, imagine, even in March 2020, when the market fell by 50%, from 48, 49 to 25, 26,000, the market almost corrected by 40 to 45 or maybe 48%. The fall, I mean. Still, the mutual fund rates, the lowest, even for the worst of the funds, came down to close to 31st Jan 2018 rates. Again, the LTCG benchmark, long-term capital gains. So that means what was wiped off? Just the 2-year gains. If you bought a mutual fund in 2010 and it had grown to a considerable value by March 2020, much more than, I would say, triple. It came down to January 18 rates. Only the 2 years of growth was wiped off. And if you had a mid cap in your kitty funds, the growth was not much also in those 2 years in the mid cap sector. The rally in the mid cap happened after 2020 correction. And trust me, whatever you had lost in those 2 years of in those 2 months, your 2 years of NAV, by December 2020, the markets were at all-time best, at their pre-March levels. Even the fund NAVs were back. Such was the growth. Such was the growth. And by July, 7 months down the line, the fund values were all-time high. Yes, currently also the market is correcting itself a bit. But the kind of rally in mid cap and small cap that has happened in the past 6-7 months, it has been phenomenal. Many of the good funds have, since if we go by their April 2020 rates, have given 125% returns as well. You would say 125% return. Yes, if you compare to April levels. But even if you compare to your 2018 levels, you would say at least 45 to 50% growth was there. Do we find, if you say annually, more than 15%, covering all the averages, covering all the falls? Just to explain you in a simple language, don't take the numbers that realistically. I'm just rounding it off to explain you. What I mean to say is that if you understand in today's inflationary times, when the government schemes, even the PPF kind of a thing has come down to 7.1, what do you expect in FD? 5.2, 5.3? The government or the RBI actually wanted more liquidity in the market, more money in the hand of the investors, so that spending could be encouraged. That is why the repo rate was kept stagnant. It is stagnant since the past 3 cycles. So that more money is in the hand of consumers so that they can spend. And once they spend, the economy returns back on its wheels. Just to explain you in very short. So the parents' mindset that mera paisa mutual fund mein mat lagana, you have to explain them. I'm not going to put in everything. I'm to put in a few percentages. I'll give you the percentage in today's presentation. So what you need to understand is that you explain them the stock market and mutual funds are entirely different. If this example of 2018, 19, 20, and even till today does not explain you a few things, then you really need to revisit this. So the senior citizen deserve to be treated with compassion and concern, and the government also provides certain facilities. And so I'll be briefing you a bit about various options which are available. Trust me, these options are entirely different from what I have been detailing you guys since the past almost now 5 years. I started my first webinar, or rather I would say not webinar though I started last year only. I started my online education on 23rd August 2016. It's almost 5 years this month, just 11 days short, in a group known as DENTAP, run by Dr. Sahil Chawla. So that was my first day where I started the education. So these options will be a lot different. So what is an ideal portfolio? As an investor, what we want, what does a senior citizen want? We have to look at today's presentation from the senior citizen point of view. What does he want? A regular income, and of course, even the wealth goes on accumulating a bit post-retirement, so that the corpus does not only go in the red zone, it is in the green zone as well. So some investment options that I'm going to discuss today will provide only regular income, but some will provide both the benefits. So you have to be in sync with that. So if you are a pensioner, or if your parents are pensioners with regular source of income, so you don't need to focus on the regular income benefit. You focus on the accumulation of wealth. Indirectly, that is going to come handy for you only, because parents give everything to their children only once they are no longer in this world. Birth and death are eternal truths of life, and we have to accept that, accept them both. So one can consider a part of their portfolio in mutual funds as well to grow your wealth. Don't worry, not my even say 10% of presentation is directed towards mutual funds. This is just to give you that this also should be a part of your portfolio. So, but people who don't receive any pension, don't have a regular income, they should have an investment option which provides them both, as I discussed here, the regular income and the wealth accumulation. So it is advisable that always think long and hard before trying to jump over the investment bandwagon. But then, is there anything else that needs to be considered? Yes. For before any investment, what is required for your parents is buying a health insurance. That should be the first priority for any senile citizen in your house, if not done already. Why? We always say, for us, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 45. Age is just a number, but for them, age is not just a number. We need to know. It is a factor that will affect their golden days and how they spend their savings. Health is a companion that starts deserting you. Your partner might not desert you, for a senior citizen, I mean, but health starts deserting all of us. Especially if they have burnt their life earning for you, earning a secure or a better future for you, for your education, for your career, for your everything. Remember, try to understand this aspect. For you, everything they have done, in that they have ignored their health. So you have to make sure that you buy them a health insurance if they have not done it already. Before any investment for growth, for regular income, for security, for accumulation, this health insurance is a must. Why? Because we have seen in COVID also, medicine cost, hospitalization, treatment, all of them are rising exponentially, more than the inflation rate. I would say that figure is 18 to 20% annually. And you can say there is a handicap that some senior citizens have no scope of increase in income. So their corpus continuously decreases. So then the happy second innings, which they want to begin at 60 not out, going up to 102 not out, or 85 or 90 not out, whatever age God Almighty accords them. So this can make their retirement a burden. So for those cases, this policy will be a boon. And trust me, there are so many companies that offer plans for citizens above 60 years. These cover all the medical expenses. And trust me, health insurance is the best thing you can gift to your parents. Why is health insurance crucial to be bought? Let me give you a few reasons. Old age is prone to illness. We all know. There is ailments being contracted. There are so many diseases which are particular with old age only. By health insurance plan, we can actually do a stress-free planning. You can say urgent medical expenditure is taken care of in a systematic and a hassle-free way. And trust me, if any medical catastrophe strikes, it is a debt crisis in the family. And the sudden crisis sometimes can be a huge financial blow. And agar parents ke paas policy nahi hai, and if you are a loyal son or a daughter, then you have to slog hard to pay off the medical expenses. You can't shun your parents midway. But आपको चाहे कोई फर्क ना पड़ता हो, yes, कोई बात नहीं, मेरे parents हैं, I am earning more, but they will feel themselves like a burden to the family, because this will add to their guilt. Trust me, mindset correction is a very difficult part. My father was a very positive onlooker in life, never demotivated. If I am motivated enough in my life, it was majority because of my father and mother only. It is rather, I would say. So, but he lost his life due to depression, due to a family problem. He actually literally gave up in June 2019, June 2018, just exactly 1 year. He said, I am done. I really don't want to fight this problem anymore. I tried my level best. My clinic is in my residence only. I live with my parents. There are two houses together. Obviously, not separate, but together only. So I tried my level best to bring him to normal life, but I could not. He actually almost gave up on eating, lost 40 kgs in 10 months from June to May 19. May first week, he was hospitalized, came back after 15 days with the NG tube and a urine catheter in place, but otherwise seemingly fine. But he didn't survive more than 35 days after that. 25th May, 24th May, we brought him back. 30th June, he expired. Because it is all about motivation. It is all about your own sense to live in. So never let an aged person go into that psychological thing or a guilt phenomenon. It can be irreversible sometimes. I've seen my father go from 90 kgs to 50 kgs in a span of 10 months. A normal person like us can't survive even for 2 months in such a phase. But our parents are still had better diets, better life than us in that regard. Better healthy life, I would say. वो सुबह का नाश्ता, रात का खाना still family के साथ खाते थे. We still are not very sure on this. वो शाम को आके गार्डन में बैठ के या कहीं भी बैठ के फैमिली के साथ चाय पीते थे. We can't do that because of our schedules. शाम को 6 बजे आके चाय पी रहे हैं, फैमिली के साथ पकौड़े खा रहे हैं. We can't still do that. It is in our hand to make them guilt free, and health insurance conveys a lot of good things in that. So don't wait. If you haven't done it already, buy a health insurance plans. They come with other benefits also. If the parents are dependent upon you, you will get a 50,000 for each senior under Section 80D. They can themselves get also. If you are buying for them, you can get 25 for you and 50 for them. Dependent parents, 75,000 of exemptions under 80D. Those policies in many cases cover daycare costs also. Dialysis like chemotherapy are also included in that. Some health plans cover annual health checkups also, which is much needed for adults, senile citizens. That is much needed. At this point, if anybody of you has not watched the 3 sessions on health insurance and the 4th one on critical illness coverage, do watch them. They're already on YouTube. I'll be sharing the link. Those of you, the parents who are watching, my greetings to you. Please do watch the health insurance webinars on there. I'll be sharing the link in the end. So get yourself mentally equipped to buy that. Why do you need it? To help you, I'm giving you this chart. What is the sum insured? What are the benefits? Of course, Section 80D, of course, benefit. What is the renewability scenario? What is the co-payment clause? Remember, the co-payment clause goes up in senior cases. It may be less. You can opt out, opt in, opt not for a co-payment clause. But for senior citizen, it is on the higher side. What exactly it is, that is the reason I told you to watch those 3+1 4 videos. These are the various policies available, good plans which can offer you good coverage. Now, this is the broad picture. Let me show you the finer picture. This is, as I said, is the best gift because medical inflation figures put it at 12 to 14. I put that number at 18 to 20 because again, this is the government figure or maybe the private figure. Exact figure is close to 20. It is increasing year on year. So old age will demand a proper medical care. So it will need a financial planning. Once parents cross 65, with each passing year, the covers become expensive. And again, a higher co-payment option. Cover may not be highly available. And even you all know, the pre-existing diseases will not be covered for 3 years. You might find the last line much alien, but once you watch those 3 sessions, because I'm not going to go into much details of what is a co-payment, what is a pre-existing and all those things. Already there are 4 webinars on that you can watch, and those are very detailed webinars. Those who have watched it, they know the importance of them. So how to go about it? Just to give you breakup of this chart as well to help you out. A low basic cover with a bigger top-up plan. Buy a small basic cover, let's say 3 lakh or 5 lakh, and supplement with a 10 to 15 lakh top-up or a super top-up plan. Opt for a 3 lakh deductible of the basic cover. So that ways you can curtail your expenditure a lot, and the remaining expenditure can be met by the top-up cover easily. That is the best tip I can give you for today. Again, these will be cheaper than your standard plans because the insurer risk begins after the threshold has been crossed. So the threshold is 3 lakh deductible in this case. A 3 lakh base cover for a 60-year-old would be around 15 to 20,000. And if you opt for a top up of 10 lakh, a 3 lakh deductible, the cost would be 10,000. Is the screen not visible to someone else also? Dr. Harshita just messaged in the box. Is the screen visible to every one of you? Okay, Dr. Divya says yes. Anybody else can put in the message in the chat. Is the screen visible? Okay, Dr. Harshita, please check the network at your end, please. It is visible to others. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's begin. So the best way, if you can do it, is this. Opt for a deductible equal to a base cover so that the top up and super top up, which are the less premiums, can take over of that. If you opt for a 5 lakh, then the top up would be again covered over there. Remember, there are no number of limits in top up and super top up. Again, those things have been discussed in detail over there. If you're salaried, you can include the same in the employer cover. If you add your parents, they are actually group plans are offered by your employers at a subsidized rate, and they can reduce our cost of insuring our parents. Then the third option, build a buffer amount. जैसे हम लोग medical emergency का amount बनाते हैं, similar way. So as we create a 3 to 6 months contingency or emergency plan for ourselves, add it the same for medical corpus for your parents also. Create a medical emergency fund of 3 to 7 lakhs for parents also, and invest the same in a debt or a liquid fund or in a high earning savings bank account, as I always say. Then this is the third taboo I need to remove. The things you don't learn from your parents. Nationalized bank ही safe है, private bank डूब जाएगा. I have cleared enough here for you many a times, but I mean to say that banks, those who are regulated by RBI, private, nationalized, semi-private, whatever, if they are regulated by RBI, they are all legitimate sons and daughters of RBI. They are all safe. 5th March 2020, Yes Bank doomed. RBI came, applied a 28-day moratorium till 3rd of April. 16th of March, in 11 days, the withdrawal limit was restored. Everybody could withdraw up to their daily limit or whatever they wanted to. Chief investor, State Bank of India, 49% investment. Other investors, Federal Bank, private bank. SDFC Bank, private bank. Axis Bank, private bank. A private bank investing in a, you can say a private bank again. A national bank investing in in that. Even IDBI Bank invested. So remember, only the cooperative banks, some of them are regulated under RBI, but majority are not. As on last, 1598 cooperative banks were there in India. Today, 1473 cooperative banks are there in India. Remember the PMC bank crisis, which happened 5 months before the Yes Bank fiasco. In October or November 2019, 4 months before that, that has still not been resolved. Close to 2 years, still not been resolved. It is a cooperative bank. But an IRBI regulated bank is safe, private or nationalized. So if you want, you can keep it in a debt fund or a liquid fund or in a high earning savings bank account. We can offer you 6 to 7%. Small finance banks like AU Small Finance offer you 7% above 10 lakhs. They will offer you that, and even RBL will offer you a 6.75. IDFC was offering 7, now it is down to 5.25. So there are banks which can offer you much better than the nationalized bank. SBI, Federal Bank, even the HDFC Bank, they have all really linked it to repo rate. So that means practically they are giving you 2.75 interest in savings, which is not at all desired. So medical emergencies can strike everyone. So be prepared for it. Let me now give you the best investment option for senior citizens. Because the interest rates are falling, और सबसे ज्यादा मार पड़ती है फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स को, एफडी को, एफडीआर को. सेम एफडी, टीडी, एफडीआर, टीडीआर means all term deposit receipt, fixed deposit receipt, fixed deposit, term deposit all mean one and the same thing. Term deposit is sometimes just a special rate of fixed deposit which is known as the term deposit. So FD, TD, TDR, FDR all mean the same, say broadly. So average return I would say today is 5.5%. Some banks are giving 4.9, 4.8 also. Maximum is, you can say, for a nationalized bank, 5.6. A few small finance banks, even the few private banks like IndusInd are offering close to 7%. And also, the retired people who survive on small saving schemes, they just survived the scare twice from our finance minister. पहले तो मार्च 31 को उन्होंने बेड़ा गर्क कर दिया था. Lack of oversight, she said. Just an oversight. तो decrease कर दिए थे सारे PPF के सबके rates. Luckily on June 30 we were expecting the same, but the repo rate was unchanged, so again we survived the scare. But then वही बात है ना, बकरे की माँ कब तक खैर बनाएगी? You never know. They are going to be down with the kind of, because the inflation is rising. To bring the inflation into control, they'll have to bring those rates down. But remember one thing, 5.5 हो, 4 point कुछ हो, they are not good enough to beat inflation. So where should a retired investor or a senior citizen should put in his or her money, so that wealth accumulation भी हो, monthly income भी हो और money secure भी रहे? Let us see. Ideal portfolio of any senior citizen should balance income and growth. But again, individual needs decide all that. So senior citizens who are getting a pension from their respective employers, some may not need regular income. So you can say आप उनका ज़्यादा portion आप mutual fund में divert कर सकते हैं. So some who are getting a EPS or a employee pension scheme, they have a lesser one because वो pension बहुत कम होती है. उनमें एक supplemental monthly income add करनी पड़ती है. But unorganized या self-employed, even like us, we will not receive any pension at all 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line. So we need to ensure a regular income from our investments. That is why आपको बोलता हूँ आज invest करो, ताकि आपके पास corpus हो जाए, वो आपको monthly income देना शुरू कर दे. But for people, your parents who are already retired or close to retirement, what is your duty? Parents do everything to make their kids happy. So it is our duty to manage their portfolio, ताकि हम लोग उनके लिए happy retired life ensure कर सकें. और उसके लिए चाहिए क्या? Prerequisite है your own financial literacy, a word I have been shouting since 5 years now. सीख लो, सीख लो, सीख लो. मेरा कुछ नहीं जाता, मैं तो बोल के चले जाता हूं. आप लोग नहीं सीखोगे, आपका लॉस है. For you guys only, with the guidance from a good friend, Dr. Thind, I revived my YouTube channel. It had only one video since 2008. 1st June को last year revive किया. 365 videos are there. देखो, not even you, not even the group members open it. 1400 लोग हो आप 5-6 ग्रुप्स में. 1400 व्यूज सिवाय कुछ स्मॉल वीडियोस के किसी वीडियो के 1400 व्यूज नहीं है. इट्स नॉट माई लॉस इन एनी वेज. मेरे को आता है, मैंने तो 350 वीडियोस क्रिएट कर दिए, शायद साल बाद 500 वीडियोस हो जाएंगे वहां पे टोटल. Who is at loss? You all. So if you want to manage your parents and their money, you need to be financially literate. If you are literate, you can help them by managing their portfolio. नहीं तो वही get rich quick schemes करते रहना, क्रिप्टो करेंसी में, स्टॉक मार्केट में डूब जाएगा तो have nothing else to show your face except the mirror. So why do you need to help them apart from emotional reasons? I gave you the social security reason. The old mindset, That needs to be changed. आपको मैंने बताया एफडी के बारे में, कितने साल से बोल रहा हूं, अब तो इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट्स भी बोलना शुरू हो गए. नॉट दैट आई एम अबव देम. व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज अ फ्यू थिंग्स. माय डैड वाज अ बैंकर, अ सीनियर सिटीजन, बट उनकी डेथ से 1.5 या 2 साल पहले उनकी सारी एफडीज टूट चुकी थी. नॉट दैट आई नीडेड टू टेल हिम दिस थिंग, but I put it across in numbers to him. Still, in those days, the FDs were close to 8, 7.5 to 8. I'm talking of year 2017. So my dad said, नहीं पता है मुझे स्टाफ कारण ज्यादा मिल रहा है 0.5 और स्टाफ कारण 1%, 0.5 because of that. I said, Dad, this is the actual return. You are investing in mutual funds. You don't have a rigid mindset. You don't have a conservative mindset. Why are you still sticking on to FDs? Why can't we divert that money to funds? So he got the point. Not that I taught him, but he got the point. Sometimes we have to put that point across. Put that point across के लिए literate खुद होंगे तभी उनका mindset change करेंगे, alter करेंगे, I mean to say. Because many parents would be risk averse. पैसा मिला है, जिंदगी भर की कमाई है, जिंदगी भर की पूंजी है, इसको फेंकना नहीं है. They will put their entire portfolio in debt. Debt can be debt fund also, debt can be a government schemes also, FDs also, post office FDs, RDs, all fetching close to 5 to 6 max. That is not the way to beat inflation. Every year they will have a decrease in their portfolio. The main aim is the wealth accumulation should also be there. There are many small saving schemes which are tax efficient, which I'll be discussing now, but the returns still cannot the ones which will beat inflation. Beating inflation should be our first aim. So how can you help? The broad thing is divide the portfolio into 3 parts, 3 silos. Liquid funds or the high earning saving bank to meet immediate liquidity needs and income for the next 1 to 1.5 year. This can be interchangeable with the high earning saving bank account in my book. Then debt investment to form the larger part of the portfolio. Yes, for the security part, since these are sovereign guaranteed. Sovereign guarantee means backed by Government of India. And a 10 to 15% exposure to help beat inflation. Remember the formula we use. 100 minus age for Indian scenario, 80 minus your age. If somebody is 60 years or 65 years, you can put in 15 to 20% in equity. But if a parent does not still want to be that risky, a bare minimum 10 to 15 exposure to equity is needed. बताएगा कौन? आप. वो खुद से शायद ना करें because of their risk averse mindset. आपको बताने के लिए खुद को जानना होगा. आप अभी खुद ही नहीं सीखे हो पूरी तरह. Learn about this. So do not completely change the debt to equity. मेरे बेटे ने पता नहीं क्या कर दिया, सारे के सारे पैसे म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दिए, देखो म्यूचुअल फंड डूब गए. So many people actually said me this thing last year in April 2020. कोई बात नहीं, रिकवर हो जाएंगे, don't worry. Always have a diversified asset allocation. आपकी एसेट एलोकेशन में इक्विटी जाएगा, टर्म इंश्योरेंस जाएगा, मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस जाएगा, इमरजेंसी फंड जाएगा, गोल्ड बॉन्ड जाएंगे, एनपीएस जाएगा. एडल्ट्स में, सीनियर्स में थोड़ा डिफरेंट होता है. I'll give you a breakup for the number first before I discuss the schemes. अगर मान लीजिए 25 लाख का पोर्टफोलियो है किसी सीनियर सिटीजन का, obviously it is usually more, but let's put it at a minimum number. कैसे डिवाइड करना है? Again, this is my ratio. You are free to differ from what I am saying. Ideal as per me, अगर आप इसको सारा फिक्स डिपॉजिट और पोस्ट ऑफिस में डालेंगे तो सारी की सारी रिटर्न्स आर टैक्सेबल. So the tax component becomes very high. So the ideal portfolio is 5 lakhs in a liquid fund or in a high earning savings bank account out of this 25, which is 25, you can say 20%. So 20% gaya yahan pe. Then remaining in government schemes, 30 to 35 in equity, 6 to 7 lakhs, 30 to 35 of the remaining hai. Overall, it is still around 20% or 25%. This is 20, this is 20, 25, and the remaining in debt. Again, you can say close to 60. Or 65, you can say 70 rather, 65 to 70% of the total portfolio. This is in debt. Debt in these days are not only debt mutual funds. जिस तरह के इंटरेस्ट रेट्स चल रहे हैं, पोस्ट ऑफिस स्कीम्स को, पीपीएफ को भी हम लोग आजकल डेट में ही कंसिडर करते हैं. So the tax options are there. So the mutual funds will offer you higher returns and help beat inflation. Plus, they are tax friendly too. Let's discuss the debt options now first. Number one heading, investment options for regular monthly income. I said wealth accumulation के बारे में भी सोचना है, for monthly income सोचना है. पहले monthly income के options देता हूं आपको. Again, look at these with open mind because these are not the offered options for you available today. These are options available only for people above 60 or those in 55 to 60 who have opted for VRS. The Senior Citizen Savings Scheme. So SCSS इसको बोलते हैं. Excellent option. Comes with the security and additional benefits. So you can get it from post offices and recognized banks. Recognized banks में आजकल आते हैं nationalized banks plus 4 mid road banks जो बेचारे अब आधे सरकारी हैं आधे प्राइवेट हैं. वो 4 हैं HDFC, IDBI, एक्सिस एंड ICICI. ये चारों गवर्नमेंट की सारी स्कीम्स ऑफर करते हैं, SCSS से लेके PPF से लेके NPS तक. HDFC, ICICI, एक्सिस एंड IDBI. सो अगर आपको नेशनलाइज्ड बैंक्स की बैंकिंग पसंद नहीं है, यू कैन ऑप्ट फॉर द सर्विस ऑफ दीज बैंक्स एंड द बेनिफिट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स फॉर योर पेरेंट्स ऑफ कोर्स. So SCSS की सबसे बड़ी एडवांटेज, इट इज कवर्ड अंडर सेक्शन 80C 1.5 lakh. What is tax saving? I have a webinar today evening at 8 PM to give you all tax scenarios. Tax planning कैसे करनी है उसमें सब स्कीम्स कवर करूंगा मैं. So इसकी 8 साल की स्कीम होती है, मेच्योरिटी पीरियड ऑफ 5 बट विद एन एक्सटेंशन ऑफ 3 पॉसिबल. करंटली इसका रेट है 7.4%. इट वाज अनचेंज्ड for quarter 1 and quarter 2. quarter 1 quarter 2 means मार्च में जो किया for April and June 30th को जो किया for July to September fiscal, for quarter, sorry, not fiscal. So interest on the same, जो returns मिलेंगी आपको वो taxable है. You can say it is kind of a high earning FD. 7.4% is still much better than 5.2, 5.4, 4.8. So इसमें upper limit to invest is 15 lakhs. Minimum 1.5 lakh, maximum 15 lakh. You can open up minimum with a 1,000, or sorry, 1.5 is for 80C, I mean to say. So minimum can be 1,000, maximum 15 lakh. In a single installment, you can go about it. अगर 15 लाख से ऊपर देंगे, like PPF, the amount would be refunded back to you immediately. The interest is paid once every quarter. Quarterly payout होता है इसमें interest. Can be prematurely closed anytime after the date of opening. It can be extended for 3 years from the date of maturity of 5 years. Option. उसके बाद 8 साल के बाद खत्म हो जाएगी. The extension has to be done within 1 year from the date of maturity. So citizens who have opted for VRS or superannuation 55 to 60 can also opt for SCSS. Not only above 60 but 55 to 60 VRS वाले भी कर सकते हैं. इस वक्त ऑफलाइन ऑप्शंस में ही अकाउंट खुलता है, ऑनलाइन नहीं है फॉर SCSS. You can't open it online. Then another common scheme for senior citizens, प्रधानमंत्री व्यय वंदना योजना, VVY बोलते हैं इसको, व्यय वंदना योजना. Operated by LIC, by the government of India. It is kind of a low risk investment pension plan. 10 साल की होती है, इसका भी इंटरेस्ट रेट 7.4 है. पर इसमें सीनियर सिटीजन अबव 60 कैन मेक एन इन्वेस्टमेंट. इसमें आपको पेंशन रिसीव होती है पर मंथ, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द अमाउंट यू इन्वेस्ट. दिस स्कीम स्टार्टेड विद 8.3, 8.4%. फिर स्कीम को बंद हो जाना था 2020 में, अब 2023 तक एक्सटेंड हो गई है. So to avail, you could invest 1.56 lakh and not more than 14.49 lakhs. वो परसेंटेज दी हुई है, I'll show you the chart. So 1.5 लाख से 15 लाख तक है इसमें भी लिमिट, लेकिन ये अंडर 80C नहीं कवर होगा. This is not under 80C. This scheme has been modified and now extended up to March 23. Earlier, it was supposed to close by 2020. It is, however, exempted from GST. इस पे कोई GST नहीं लगता है आपका. So again, interest rate is comparable with SCSS, and it was originally launched in 2017. The money which you invest is known as the purchase price because it is a pension plan. Sovereign guarantee है means गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया है, तो इसमें assured return rate है. इस पे क्वार्टरली रेट का फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. If somebody has invested in 2017 at 8.3, 8.4%, उसको 8.4 ही मिलेगा till the policy matures. But if somebody who's starting out today will start at 7.4, और एवरी क्वार्टर जब वित्त मंत्री कुछ ना कुछ अनाउंस करती है स्मॉल सेविंग्स, उससे इसको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. लाइक SCSS that can decrease or increase, like PPF that can decrease or increase, like a post office RD FD that can decrease or increase, but इसको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. It will remain at the price you book. आपको पेंशन क्योंकि उसी के हिसाब से तय हो गई. It is a regular payout pension, so monthly expenses के लिए it is a good scheme for senior citizens and a big and a better alternative to traditional fixed deposits or bank deposits or term deposits, whatever you can call, FD जिसको बोलते हैं. So 7.4 for 10 years, ये 10 साल की स्कीम है, 15 साल की नहीं है. Sorry, 8 साल की नहीं है. This is for 10 years and provides a fixed sum regularly. Once you start from there, the 10 years start. And entire amount is paid out, the final pension and the purchase at, क्योंकि वो सारे कैलकुलेट हो जाता है कि आपने जो लमसम किया इन्वेस्ट 15 लाख किया, उसके हिसाब से आपका 8.4 या आज 7.4 के हिसाब से पेंशन इक्वेट हो जाएगी and you will start getting it for 10 years every month. Few clauses, 75% of the purchase price पे लोन मिल सकता है up to 3 years to cover emergencies. After 3 years, sorry. Medical emergency हो जाए किसी को, yes, there are certain conditions which are covered. Subscribers can withdraw 98% of their purchase price which is pending. जितनी पेंशन, मान लो 4 साल पेंशन ले ली, तो जो 6 साल का बचा है अमाउंट, यूजली द प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट ओनली, उस पर आप 98% विड्रॉ कर सकते हैं इन केस ऑफ ग्रेव इमरजेंसी. अगेन द लिस्ट हैज बीन नोटिफाइड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. इफ द सब्सक्राइबर पासेस अवे, द नॉमिनी इज पेड आउट विद द परचेज प्राइस. उसको पेंशन नहीं लगती, उसको सारा अमाउंट वापस हो जाता है विद द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ कोर्स. So one can subscribe to both in online and offline way. SCSS could be done only offline by going to the bank and the post office. This can be done online on the LIC website, official website as well, LIC India. So what is the amount of pension? That will depend upon your purchase price or your investment at the start. So good investment option for senior citizens, those who are looking for a regular pension. But again, जो पेंशन आएगी वो टैक्सेबल है, लाइक योर सैलरी एज पर योर स्लैब. सीनियर सिटीजन को एडवांटेज ये है कि उनको 60 वालों को 3 लाख तक एग्जम्पशन है. सो इफेक्टिवली everyone is now covered till 5 lakh considering section 87A. This is the chart which will give you the Pradhan Mantri Vyaya Vandana Yojana payout. If you can say minimum amount of investment is there, the minimum amount of pension is 1,000. And similarly, if you want a monthly pension, if you want a quarterly pension, if you want a biannual, if you want an annual pension, the minimum amounts have been specified in this because it changes as per the rate of interest depending upon the compounding factor. So you can have it. Pension नहीं बढ़ेगी आपकी, आपका ये वाला amount कम हो जाएगा if you block it. कि मेरे को एनुअल पेंशन दे दो इतनी, मेरे को 6 मंथली दे दो, मेरे को क्वार्टरली दे दो, मेरे को मंथली दे दो. You can opt for any of these scenarios. In both the cases, the minimum and the maximum amount is specified. So if you have to choose, let me give you a comparison. SCSS करूं कि प्रधानमंत्री व्यय वंदना योजना करूं? Both are good. If you are looking for regular monthly income, उसमें क्वार्टरली पे आउट है, इसमें मंथली पे आउट भी है, मंथली से लेके एनुअल पे आउट है इन द वंदना योजना. So you can say FD reports rates are decreasing, so it is better to go in for such kind of options which can give you a good return. If you're looking for assured investment, then SCSS. If your option looking for your monthly income, that Vyaya Vandana Yojana is a good investment. But remember, this is subject to our finance minister's declaration. This is locked in for that period what you book. So both are currently giving a 7.4. The Vandana Yojana was 8.3 to 8.4 for old enrolled in 2017-18. In seniors, as I said, in SCSS, the interest rates may depend upon the government of India. If they decrease the small savings, SCSS would decrease. But in VVY, that remains fixed. Both come backed by sovereign guarantee. So, but the VVY gives you luxury to remain invested at a higher interest rate available at the time of investment. So the lock-in period in SCSS is 5 years, VVY is 10 years. So yes, if you want liquidity, SCSS में still आप कर सकते हैं, but you can't fish out the money unless it is a grave emergency. Under certain clauses only you can withdraw. तो उसमें VVY में locked है. But then we are not looking at the money to say liquidity. उसके लिए हम सारा पैसा थोड़ा ना डाल देंगे उसमें monthly pension में. We'll put in some portion only. This is one way of doing it. So SCSS में आप withdraw करना चाहते हैं तो थोड़ी सी penalty देके you can withdraw the entire money also. पर VVY में loan मिलता है या you can say medical emergency में withdrawable है, वो भी on a particular list of diseases. So that list keeps on changing always. So all of you should, your senior citizens should have a diversified portfolio in that regard. So let's compare. Just ignore the 8.3%, make it 7.4. इसमें annual में 7.6 मिल जाता है, वैसे monthly 7.4. The rest is remains the same. Interest rates are reset every quarter. That is fixed. So tenure 5 years plus 3 years. This is 10 years. Exemption ATC में मिलती है 1.5 तक. ATTTB apply होता है. Again, ATC, TTB, TTA we'll discuss in the evening. So exemption under section 80C, pension is fully taxed. So maximum deposit 15 lakh per person, 15 lakh per family. Quarterly can be a payout. In this is a quarterly payout. This has all the options: monthly, quarterly, biannually, and annually. So the third option for a regular income is POMIS, Post Office Monthly Income Scheme. ये मेरे डैड ने मुझे भी लेके दी थी, मेरे पास आज भी चल रही है. माय लास्ट मेरे को डैड ने जॉइंट नेम में करवाई थी, तो मेरे पास 9 लाख की थी. Yes, I am not a senior citizen, but still this was a good rate of interest. I get a monthly income in that regard. मेरी बुक हुई थी 8.9% पे. Way back means 2016. 2016 में मेरी लास्ट मैच्योर हो रही है. So एक मेरी 2014 की थी, एक 15 की थी. So maximum you can deposit. जॉइंट होल्डर है तो 9 लाख, सिंगल होल्डर है तो 4.5 लाख. मेरी 3 लाख की डैड ने 3 करवाई थी, along with my mother as my say joint holder in the other in that part. इसमें इस वक्त rate of interest है 6.6. Payout is monthly. You get an interest rate. जिस डेट को आपने बुकिंग करी है आपको इंटरेस्ट शुरू हो जाएगा. मेरी 25-26 के आसपास होती है, मेरे को 26 को रेट इंटरेस्ट का मैसेज आता है. द टेन्योर इज 5 years. 5 साल कंप्लीट होने के बाद यू गेट अ कंप्लीट पे आउट ऑफ द इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट. मेरी सितंबर में ड्यू होगी तो मेरे को 3 लाख मिलेगा, बिकॉज मेरे को इंटरेस्ट हैज बीन पेड आउट monthly in these 5 years. So currently the rate is 6.6%. Single name 4.5 lakh. One shot, different shots, different fiscals also. As I said, 2014, 15, 16 for me. Your choice, but maximum limit is 9 lakh. For example, in SCSS and Vandana Yojana, it was 15 lakhs was the upper limit. Here it is 9 lakhs for the joint holder. In the joint holder, the benefits are accorded to only the first holder only. Then FRS bonds. ये last year launch किए थे government ने. Good rate of return considering what it is existing right now. हम लोगों को compare उससे करना जो आज की डेट में है 4.8, 4.2, 5.2 उससे. So interest rates are 7.15%. The interest rates are payable on Jan 1 and July 1. Oh, sorry, Jan 30th and Jan 1 and July 1, I guess. Yeah. So half yearly payout twice. Tenure is 7 years. So the coupon rate as was fixed at 7.115, and it is again linked to your NSE. So it was in the times of COVID-19 that RBI actually cut the rate of interest to pump in huge liquidity into the system so that the people have more money on their hands and they can spend, as I told you earlier. So this money resulted in big drop in interest rates. क्योंकि बैंकों के पास पैसा ज्यादा आ गया, ले आगे से लोन्स लिए नहीं लोगों ने, then the rates had to drop. So these FRS bonds were launched in 2020. These are taxable of course. Tax free investment इनमें से कोई भी नहीं है, बट स्टिल अगर आपको टैक्स देना ही है तो 5% वाली पे क्यों दो, 7.5 7.25 वाली पे दो ना आप, 7.4 7.15. So these are the fixed income instruments which come with a lock-in period, not like your usual bonds but are floating. Again, these can also keep on changing. So the first bonds were on July 1st and will mature on July 1st, 2027. Lock-in period of 7 years, interest payable January 1st and July 1st, as I told you. No option of monthly, quarterly or cumulative payout. कि मेरे को मंथ बाद दे दो, मेरे को क्वार्टर बाद दे दो, नो, और एनुअली एक बार ही दे दो, नहीं. इसमें ओनली बाई मंथली ऑप्शन इज देयर. So every bond of the government is usually 6 monthly only. Sovereign gold bonds also, the interest comes in 6 monthly. So these are 100% risk-free government backed investments. But the only problem is the shortcoming is the liquidity. इनको आप exchange नहीं कर सकते हैं, not listed on any exchange, so कोई interim exit नहीं है. Lock-in मतलब lock-in है for 7 years. So, but there is scope of premature withdrawal. 60 to 70 people can exit after 6 years. 70 to 80 years can exit after 5 years. 80 plus can prematurely exist after 4 years. This is the benefit given by Government of India to senile people. But these bonds can be taken by anyone, not only by the senior citizens, but by you only. But if you are taking it, you will have surely a lock-in of 7 years. But why it is important, or you can say catching up amongst that it offers a half yearly interest payout. You can say 6 months pension is also there. You can put in some amount over there into the system, which can guarantee you a pension. So अब तीनों को compare करते हैं, SCSS, PMVVY, FRS. I think वो पिछली स्लाइड में गलती से yes mentioned था ATC में. I told you it is no, but वो शायद पिछली में yes mentioned था, so it is no. ATC benefit नहीं मिलता वंदना योजना में. So interest at 7.4, 7.4, 7.5, lock in 5 years, 10 years, 7 years. ATC yes, no, no. Interest इसमें quarterly है, इसमें all options, इसमें half yearly. So you can plan it accordingly. A portion of all can be invested in this. Taxable, taxable, taxable. Every return is taxable. I have not intentionally discussed the NSC. It is at a much lower rate, and I don't consider it viable enough to be discussed over here. So minimum investment, as I told you, amount 1.56 lakhs. Amount is 1.56658 because it is 7.4. At 8.4, it was 144,732 something. Similarly, at compounded value, 14 lakh. Bonds में जितना आपका मन हो, there is no limit. जितना मन है उतना डाल दीजिए. इसमें upper limit is 15 lakh. I hope this chart actually conveys you what to choose and how to choose, especially for senior citizens, along with your health insurance. So then the fifth option, which I am not very fond of, bank FDs. Senior citizens को सिर्फ 0.5% ज्यादा मिलेगा, but ATTTB के अंडर tax limit is you can say 50,000 of savings is there. ATTTA जो होता है वो savings interest exemption मिलती है for a normal person from 18 to 60 for 10,000 rupees. लेकिन उसमें सिर्फ savings का count होता है interest. For ATTTB, which is for senior citizens 60 above, super seniors also included. Super senior is 80 plus. उनका add होता है तो उनको interest rate for all deposits, all saving accounts plus fixed deposit plus all kinds of interest, 50,000 exemption per year. So this includes all kinds of interest, even the post office. So post office का separately आपको 7,000 है on saving bank account only. So एक तरह से 57,000 तक exemption है to senior citizens. अब post office fixed deposit and RD, they also work like a bank deposit. सिर्फ ये है कि थोड़ी added security होती है. Money goes to government, so there is no chance of default. 5 lakh तक insurance by DICGC has been extended to them also, which was earlier 1 lakh. So post office were exempt from TDS deduction. हालांकि guidelines government of India की आ गई हैं कि पोस्ट ऑफिस में भी टीडीएस डिडक्ट किया जाए अबव 40,000 थ्रेशोल्ड. फ्रॉम 1st July 2020 द गाइडलाइंस हैव कम. अभी भी बहुत सारे पोस्ट ऑफिस नहीं करते हैं. Those who are not centralized, those who are still not, because post office हमारे अभी भी 1947 के स्टाइल से चलते हैं. They are still not into the 21st century. Then the second part is investment for growth. We have discussed for investment for monthly income. Just let me quickly go through a few things, just 7-10 minutes more, and we'll wind up the presentation. So senior citizens can orient their portfolio towards growth and wealth accumulation, especially those who are actually having pension and can direct some money. I told you the percentage, I told you the breakup amount example also. Mutual funds are again one of the best decisions you can make for building wealth over a period of time. You can say they bring a lot of element of growth and wealth creation in the portfolio, in anyone's portfolio, not for senior citizens. They bring anyone. Obviously, they also come with the benefit of tax saving and inflation beating returns. Tax saving में क्या आता है? ELSS, equity linked saving schemes, lock-in of 3 years, and you can say tax deduction also under ATC up to 1.5 lakh. 1.5 lakh में इतनी exemptions available हैं. We'll discuss all those in the evening. So amongst equity fund, even you can say other than equity, अगर आप चाहते हैं आपका 1.5 other बाकी चीजों से खत्म हो गया है, तो you can go for large cap which are relatively low risk, while mid and small are slightly high risk or mid road of those two. So we all know equity mutual funds are taxed if kept for longer year. They are taxed for just 10% for gains over 1 lakh. But if less than 1 year, they are taxed at 15% without any LTCG benefit. So debt funds for gains made within 3 years of investment and at 20% with indexation for gains made after 3 years. Indexation से क्या होता है? आपकी inflation बीच में factor in हो जाती है. So then there are retirement plans also. कई म्यूचुअल फंड के रिटायरमेंट पेंशन प्लान HDFC के बहुत कॉमनली आते हैं, सबके आते हैं, बट HDFC की बहुत ज्यादा ऐड भी आती है. बट मेरे हिसाब से दे आर नॉट लिटिल, यू कैन से दे आर मोर देन अ मार्केटिंग गिमिक ओनली. आपको इतने सारे स्पेशलाइज्ड प्लान्स अवेलेबल है, व्हाई डू यू ऑप्ट फॉर अ पेंशन प्लान इन दैट? सबसे बड़ा पेंशन प्लान NPS है, वो ऑप्ट कीजिए. कमिंग टू दैट ओनली. मैंने PPF का नाम नहीं लिया बिकॉज PPF इज यूजुअली वन थिंग पीपल विल से चलो ग्रो कर रहा है उसमें डालें ना डालें, लेट इट बी ग्रोइंग. वैसे भी 15+5 के बाद जो आपका +5 है, उसमें एडिशनल जो रिन्यूअल का टाइम है उसमें एडिशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट डालना जरूरी नहीं है. सो अर्लियर इट वाज स्टिल 18 to 60, नाउ इट इज बीन एक्सटेंडेड अप टू 70. आप 70 पे भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं अपना NPS. somebody can start his NPS at 70 years and withdraw, and the policy you can say the scheme completes at 75. जितना भी अमाउंट मिलेगा, अगर आप तो 5 लाख होगा आपके पास तो is fully you can take out that whole amount. अगर above 5 लाख है तो आपकी मंथली पेंशन स्टार्ट हो जाएगी आफ्टर 75. Again, I don't expect you to start at 70. I expect you to start at 60 or less than that about NPS. 18 पे आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. इसमें 2 लाख का बेनिफिट है. Somebody who is getting a pension and wants to put in a good amount for exemption, तो 1.5 + 50 सारा का सारा आप इसमें डाल सकते हैं. And the investment towards NPS can be again, इसमें ECG कैटेगरी होती है, इक्विटी, कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड्स एंड गवर्नमेंट G-Secs बोलते हैं, गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, डिपेंडिंग बॉन्ड. एक्टिव ऑप्शन में आप परसेंटेज डिवाइड कर सकते हैं. इक्विटी ऑप्शन कैन नॉट बी मोर देन 75. अगर आप चाहते हैं आई डोंट नो हाउ टू ऑपरेट NPS, यू कैन पिक एन ऑटो ऑप्शन जिसमें आपकी एज के हिसाब से अपने आप ECG में डिवाइड कर देता है. Even in auto or active mode, the maximum equity is capped at 75. You can't go in over there. Obviously, auto में तो 75 होगा भी नहीं. Active choice में you can put in at 75. There is a video, detailed video on YouTube as well. I'll be giving you the link. The two required wheels of investment, PPF and NPS. There is a whole presentation on that. Many of the colleagues like that video. If you haven't watched that, do watch that. So NPS does not offer a steady interest income, but it is like a passive mutual fund only. But after mutual funds, it is the second fastest growing investment, giving you consistently in the range of 10 to 12 to 13%. Currently, जो आपका corpus बनेगा जब आप निकलवाना चाहते हैं, somebody who started NPS earlier wants to withdraw at 60, उसका 60% amount जो है tax free है. You can withdraw that bulk. बाकी 40% से देयर विल बी अ एन्युटी बॉट, जिससे आपकी मंथली पेंशन लग जाएगी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द अमाउंट। जैसे आपने वो देखा ब्रेकआउट में, वंदना योजना में, उसी तरह आपका ब्रेकआउट करके परसेंटेज के हिसाब से आपका पे आउट लग जाएगा, बट दैट पेंशन विल बी टैक्सेबल एज यूजुअल। 60% ऑफ द कॉर्पस वुड बी टैक्स फ्री। देन द थर्ड एंड द लास्ट वे, it was one was growth, one was there by, you can say, security, you can say monthly income. The third way where you can help your parents, investing in their name. Again, I have taken the session on this, how you can make use of your family members. So if your parents are in the non-taxable or low tax bracket, कि उनकी 5 लाख से कम बनती है इनकम, इन्वेस्ट इन देयर नेम बाय गिफ्टिंग देम मनी। SCSS ले लीजिए, पोस्ट ऑफिस की सेविंग स्कीम ले लीजिए, बैंक FD ले लीजिए, अगर कुछ नहीं लेना तो VVY ले लीजिए, आप गिवन यू सो मेनी ऑप्शन, FRS ले लीजिए। सो देयर आर सो मेनी ऑप्शंस। उनको वैसे भी 50,000 तक की एग्जाम्पशन और भी है। सो यू हैव टू थिंक दैट वेज। सो अगर उनका इंटरेस्ट रेट, और उनको बोलिए इनकम उनकी अगर 7 लाख तक भी जाती है एंड यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग रेगुलरली, तब भी उनका जीरो टैक्स है, considering 1.5 under PPF or any kind of ATC, including SCSS, 50,000 under 80 TTB. I've not taken anything else. हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस करेंगे तो वो भी मिलेगा, आप अपने में भी ले सकते हैं, उनके में भी ले सकते हैं, बट एक में लेना है। डिपेंडेंट है तो अपने में लीजिए, अगर उनकी पेंशन आ रही है तो वो ले सकते हैं अपने में, दोनों इकट्ठे नहीं ले सकते। बेनिफिट अंडर 80D, मैंने 80D नहीं लिया इसमें, मैंने इसमें NPS नहीं लिया। अगर वो दोनों भी मैं ऐड कर दूंगा 50,000 ईच, तो उनकी 8 लाख तक की इनकम टैक्स फ्री है। Remember this amount. 8 lakhs is not a small amount for a senior citizen. 8 lakhs of annual income, which is generating either through interest, pension, or salary, or whatever you can say. And if you translate that, that is roughly close to 70,000 or 65,000 plus per month. Not a small amount by any standards. 65,000 plus amount tax free. किसको मिलता है आज की डेट में? Only with smart planning. सो इवन अगर उनका टैक्स लिमिट जाता है तब भी आप उनको मिनिमम टैक्स देना पड़ेगा। 8 लाख से ऊपर भी जाता है अगर वो सारा कुछ करते हैं। अगर वो इनमें से कुछ भी नहीं करते हैं, फिर भी 5.5 लाख तो लिमिट है ना, बिकॉज डिपॉजिट्स हैं। अगर वो कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट इस तरह की नहीं करते, 5 लाख वैसे एग्जाम्प्ट है, 50,000 उनकी इंटरेस्ट इनकम, 5.5 लाख तक तो वैसे एग्जाम्प्ट है विदाउट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स। तो वैसे एग्जाम्पशन लिमिट उनकी अगर उससे कम भी है तो 2.5 लाख सबके लिए, 3 लाख सीनियर सिटीजन, सुपर सीनियर 8 लाख। Then the second way you can help them out is by paying them rent under section 1013A. If you're a salaried guy, you can pay them rent and claim the HRA. उसके लिए 3 slabs होते हैं that I'll discuss in the evening session, because that is a part of tax exemption, tax planning. So this amount is taxable in their hands, but they can avail 30% over the deduction over the annual maintenance under section 24. Then of course purchasing health insurance for them, section 80D. If you are below 60, your parents are above 60, dependent on you, you can claim 25 plus 50,000 in 80D. If you are below 60, parents below 60, 25 plus 25. If you are above 60 and parents also above 60 or 80, rare case scenario, 50 plus 50, 1 lakh. So I hope this awakens you a bit about your responsibility towards your parents. So just to summarize, we all know for the financial well-being of the parents or senior citizens, it is always best to invest in good return, low risk options that generate a steady source of income. As our parents will approach retirement, their financial security and independence both are crucial. So the first thing before investment is the health insurance, as I said. Today's, you can say 2019 data says 130 million plus or 13 crore individual Indians are in 55 plus age group. So planning financial security is a growing need for all of us. They will prefer FDs, RDs, post office thing, NPS, even LIC insurance, premium endowment plans. A few will prefer mutual funds, but you have to make them aware of all these things that you have attended. If some of you could not make your parents attend, this video might go to YouTube later. Make them watch this video. In a couple of days, it'll be on YouTube. So make them watch this video. So in order to cherish regular income and wealth generation, a combination of both mutual funds and debt or low risk fixed options should be embraced, because the interest rates are falling. The only way you can still try to beat inflation is, or get close to inflation is, by, you can say, investment options for citizens I provided in this webinar. When I say investment options or inflation options, I always say one thing: आपके लिए 10% increase हो रही है inflation, उनके लिए नहीं हो रही है. उनकी wants almost nil होती हैं, उनकी सिर्फ needs होती हैं. Then they don't have children to send to school. They don't have to go to multiplex and movies regularly. So उनके लिए inflation का criteria वही 7 के आसपास होता है, what I believe. वो गवर्नमेंट फिगर के आसपास भी गुजारा कर लेंगे, 5.5-6 वाली फिगर के आसपास. बट कम से कम उतना तो मिले रिटर्न. 10% ना एम करो, थोड़ा सा म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल के, थोड़ा सा बैलेंस इन्वेस्टमेंट करके, यू कैन एम फॉर क्लोज टू 7-7.5% बाय दैट वेज, ताकि उनका कॉर्पस स्टिल कंटिन्यूज टू बी ऑलमोस्ट सेम और विद अ मिनिमम श्रिंकेज. नहीं तो क्या होगा, कॉर्पस विल गो ऑन श्रिंकिंग वाया डेट इनटू दिस. अल्टीमेटली दे विल हैव नो मनी लेफ्ट एंड दे विल बी ऑन यू. फिर वो गिल्ट आ जाएगी, मैं बेटे पे बोझ हूं. Never let that guilt come into your parents' mind. They are precious. They are very precious for all of us. So carry home gyan for today. Parents do everything for us. It is our duty to return them back the same favor. Remember, it is all karma. It will all come back to one day. And karma sometimes bites back badly as well. आपके भी बच्चे होंगे, आपके साथ क्या होगा वो कर्मा डिसाइड करेगा. Remember, Yago, you also grow old. Senile age is never kind. Sask. Senile age is seldom kind. So always care for your parents. So the moral of the whole story is 3 things have to be given weightage: income generation, a monthly income, a corpus protection where the money doesn't get lost all in the market, of course, and corpus growth. That should be the aim for every one of us. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. As I said, I'll be giving up the link. So this is my YouTube channel link. Many of you are aware of it. YouTube channel, youtube.com/C Dr. Bhavdeep. If you forget, just go to YouTube and search Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. I keep on posting a video twice every week now. Till last week, a video was there every day since the past 6 months. So as on 31st of July, there are 365 plus videos already on my channel. So this is my KYC, my phone number, my email, my website, you all know about it. My social media presence, all by my name. So only the page is by Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. So do send me your feedback in the respective group, wherever you are, or on my number, or on the WhatsApp group. Bookers and brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure. Thank you once again. And I stopped my share for queries, and I am unmuting all of you so that you can unmute yourself and ask me any questions if you want. Yes, open to everyone for questions. Thank you, Dr. Nimesh. Thank you, Dr. Ramchandra. Thank you, Dr. Divya. Thank you, Dr. Rameshwar. Thank you, Dr. Rupesh. Any queries? More than willing to answer.
Sir, good morning, Dr. Shubhachaji here.
Yes, Dr. Sabhasachi.
Sir, my question is that the newly passed out rule of DIGCC of about 5 lakh, is the senior citizen invested in the bank, the amount will be come under that scheme if the something happens to the bank?
पहली बात तो बैंक के बारे में बोल दिया, something will not happen to the bank. If happens, the RBI is there to save it. दूसरी चीज है, वो सबके लिए है, उसका क्लॉज पड़ी है डिटेल में. अगर आपके 10 अकाउंट हैं तो फर्स्ट होल्डर के हिसाब से आपके पास बहुत कुछ कवर्ड होगा. फर्स्ट होल्डर पर अकाउंट है, पर कस्टमर आईडी नहीं है, वो पर कस्टमर आईडी नहीं है. रिमेंबर दैट. Read the fine print of that. You will get to know many things about that. I'll share you in the group. I'll share with you in the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, my uncle has asked me about that.
No problem. I'll share you. You can forward it to him.
And another
Thank
question
you.
is,
Yeah.
what is your looking about the some pension plans that have with the LIC? Actually, I had done the PMVVY very recently for my mom, and when I approached the LIC office, they were very much persisting about their something called pension plan, Jeevan Akshay या Jeevan Shanti ऐसे है. So, what is your look into that?
When you have the best pension plan available, giving you the second highest return, national pension system, and the Pradhan Mantri Vyaya Vandana Yojana giving you close to 7.4, why do you even need to think about a pension plan? कितनी pension चाहिए आपको बताओ? POMIS भी है, कितनी pension चाहिए? And then mutual funds भी हैं हमारे पास as a big backup option. छोटा backup नहीं है वो. If you are doing it, so how much backup do we need? उनको बेचना है वो तो करेंगे आपको persist.
Yes, sir. That was my point. Also, there was
BVY का license उसके पास है, LIC के पास, LIC is still promoting their own thing. That is wrong on their part. But वही है. IDBI बैंक चले जाओ क्योंकि 51% share is by LIC बैंक. वो अपनी बैंकिंग कम करते हैं, LIC की पॉलिसी ज्यादा बेचते हैं. Go to any IDBI bank, they'll tell you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Malathi ji. Thank you, Dr. Bhavna. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Dr. Bindu. Thank you, Dr. Archana. Yes, Amit, we all should be motivated. Thank you, Dr. Harshada. Thank you, Navjot sir. तो टर्म पर पूछना है कि टर्म प्लान ले लें तो जब इंसान की डेथ हो जाती है तो वो पैसे देने में नाटक और बहाने करते हैं और बैंक वाले तो इन सब से कैसे बचें? रामेश्वर जी, मेरा टर्म प्लान पे वेबिनार है 2.5 घंटे का. विच प्लान टू पिक, अटेंड दैट, एंड इफ यू स्टिल डोंट गेट योर क्वेश्चंस आंसर्ड, गेट बैक टू मी. YouTube चैनल को देखिए. ऑल टॉपिक्स ऑलमोस्ट हैव बीन कवर्ड ऑन प्रैक्टिस मैनेजमेंट, मेडिकल, लीगल एंड फाइनेंस. Almost all which we need. ऐसे तो finance is endless, can never end. But what we all need has all been covered in this second lockdown. So go for that. I cannot answer that question in one line. Once you see the webinar, you will know why I can't answer that in one line. So go and watch it and you will be answered. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, वो जो
Any more queries? Yeah.
सर वो जो प्रधानमंत्री योजना वाला था for pension, so you were saying that this was closed, the scheme was closed and then it has been extended. What happens if the scheme gets closed in between, if that happens in future?
If it is closed, it means the new investor can't go in, but for the old it continues. For example, RGESS, Rajiv Gandhi Equity Saving Schemes, वो एक स्कीम थी, सेक्शन में भूल गया उसका, शाम को दिखाऊंगा सेक्शन वो, क्योंकि वो 2020 में लास्ट था. उसमें अगर 50,000 वो बॉन्ड्स कूपन्स मिलते थे, अगर आप उसमें इन्वेस्ट करते थे, यू गॉट अ रिडम्पशन ऑन अप टू 50% ऑफ दैट अमाउंट, तो 25,000 की एडिशनल एग्जम्पशन मिलती थी. दैट स्कीम वाज स्टॉप्ड बाय मिस्टर अरुण जेटली इन 2016 और उसका लास्ट पे आउट हुआ है 2020 में. मेरे को जो लास्ट पे आउट आया 2019 में आया. जिन्होंने किया हुआ है उनका चलता रहेगा, न्यू इन्वेस्टर कांट गो इन. But for the old, it continues on the same terms and conditions. Even if, for example, SCSS है, even if that is closed, और लेकिन लोगों की चल रही है for lock-in period, जब तक वो small saving के साथ linked है, जिनकी चल रही है उनको small saving का interest भी affect करता रहेगा, नए लोगों के लिए नहीं होगा. So nothing to, जो government backed होती है उनमें ये option नहीं होती है कि वो खत्म हो गई तो your money is gone. It is not like a ULIP scheme. यूलिप में बहुत लॉस हुआ है, बट अदरवाइज इस तरह नहीं होता है. थैंक यू डॉक्टर पूर्वा जी. यस, एनी मोर क्वेरीज? Okay, then I'm having a FB live at 2 p.m. The topic is financial literacy for women. Although the topic tagline says for women, but males are also welcome to join in. For example, this was for senior citizens. You watched it for certain specific reason. Once the males watch that session in the evening, we'll get to know why. There is no Zoom link shared. As I've shared you with the group, it'll be FB live and it'll start sharp at 2. Again, 60 to 70-minute presentation, and I'll take up the questions after that, whichever will be there on the page itself. So what questions are there, we'll be answering that. And then we meet in the evening on the Zoom again, 8 p.m. on tax planning. Again, the evening session would start on time. I've shared the link already with you in the group. all of you are welcome to join in. Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
And do hug your parents after this webinar.
Yes, sir.
And do say I love you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.